Dear Starseeds of Earth, there is something happening in your skies tonight that most will never understand. While the world sleeps, unaware of the cosmic mechanics shifting around them, you, the awakened ones, are being handed a gift wrapped in paradox. Tonight, as the moon reaches her apogee, pulling herself to the farthest edge of her orbit from your planet, the collective consciousness will feel what they always fear: distance, separation, the cold hand of detachment reaching across the void. But what I'm about to reveal will turn everything you've been taught about manifestation completely inside out. The masses will feel tonight's lunar apogee as emptiness. You will wield it as power. Let me take you back 48 hours, because what's unfolding right now didn't begin tonight. This story started 2 days ago, on October 21st, when three cosmic forces collided in a once-in-a-lifetime alignment that rewrote the energetic architecture of your manifestation field. That was the night the new moon crowned herself in Libra's scales, the night Mercury kissed Mars in a conjunction of divine masculine perfection, the night the Orionid meteor shower tore open the veil and flooded your DNA with starseed activation codes. You felt it, didn't you? That electric certainty, that sudden clarity that pierced through months of fog, that wasn't imagination. That was the universe handing you a cosmic pen and saying, write your new reality now. And you did. You planted seeds in the garden of the quantum field, seeds of intention, watered with the precision of Mercury's intellect and the fire of Mars's action, seeds that were not mere wishes. They were encoded transmissions carrying the frequency signature of your highest timeline. But here's what nobody told you about manifestation, what the abundance gurus and law of attraction teachers conveniently leave out of their perfectly curated posts. The most dangerous thing you can do after planting a seed is dig it up every hour to see if it's growing. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I have watched countless awakening souls sabotage their own manifestations through one fatal flaw: attachment masquerading as faith. Tonight, the cosmos is teaching you a lesson that will separate those who manifest from those who merely dream, and it begins with understanding why the moon is pulling away from you. Let me tell you what's actually happening in your energy field right now, because there are three simultaneous transmissions occurring in this very moment that are building toward a crescendo you cannot yet see. The first is the moon herself, reaching apogee at approximately 405,500 kilometers from Earth, nearly 42,000 kilometers farther than when she cradles herself close to you at perigee. This isn't random cosmic geometry. This is intentional design. The moon's gravitational influence on your emotional body is weakening by the hour, and with it, the turbulent waters of attachment, anxiety, and desperate grasping are being pulled out like a tide retreating before the next wave. The second transmission is the residual activation from that Mercury-Mars-Moon triple conjunction that lit up your skies earlier today. Before the moon began her journey toward apogee, she merged with both Mars and Mercury in a rare triple alignment that the ancient astrologers would have called the divine masculine awakening. Mars brought you the warrior's discipline, the capacity to take aligned action without emotional chaos. Mercury brought you the messenger's clarity, the ability to communicate with the quantum field in a language it actually understands. And the moon, before she pulled away, brought you the emotional intelligence to feel your desires without drowning in them. This triple conjunction didn't just happen. It was preparation. It was the universe giving you the energetic tools you would need for tonight's real test. And the third transmission, the one most will miss entirely, is the echo of the Orionid starseed codes still integrating through your light body from 2 nights ago. Those weren't shooting stars you witnessed, beloved. Those were data packets from Orion, carrying genetic upgrades that only activate when you meet them with the right frequency. And do you know what frequency unlocks starseed DNA? Not desperation, not fear of losing what you desire, not the frantic energy of checking your manifestation every 5 minutes like refreshing an email inbox. The frequency that unlocks everything is sacred detachment. But something else is happening tonight that I haven't told you about yet, and it's threading through every word I speak to you. There's a sequence unfolding. Tonight is not the end of this story. It's the pivot point. Tomorrow, October 24th, carries 2 events that will make sense of why tonight's emotional distance is so crucial. Tomorrow, the moon reaches perihelion, her closest approach to the sun, while simultaneously the star Antares, the heart of the scorpion, the ancient symbol of death and rebirth, will be occulted, hidden behind the moon's face. and the Leonis Minorid meteor shower will peak, activating the warrior codes of Leo. Do you see the pattern emerging? Tonight you learn detachment. Tomorrow you learn transformation. Tomorrow you will die to your old self, but only if tonight you release your grip. Let me show you why your emotional distance tonight is not abandonment, it's activation. Every manifestation teacher tells you to feel the feeling of your desire fulfilled. They're not wrong, but they're incomplete. What they don't teach is that there are two kinds of feeling: the feeling that creates and the feeling that destroys. The feeling that creates is the frequency of already having, the calm certainty, the peaceful knowing that what is yours is already yours. The feeling that destroys is the desperate yearning, the anxious checking, the emotional roller coaster of is it here yet? Is it here yet? Is it here yet? That second feeling doesn't magnetize your desire closer. It broadcasts the frequency of lack across the quantum field, and the universe, being the perfect mirror it is, reflects lack back to you in perfect fidelity. Tonight's lunar apogee is stripping away your capacity for that destructive emotional attachment. Not permanently. The moon will return to perigee in 2 weeks. But for this crucial window right now, 48 hours after you planted the most powerful seeds of your life during that new moon portal, the universe is forcing you into a cosmic timeout. It's saying you've done the work, you've set the intention, you've taken the aligned action. Now step back. Now let me do what I do. Now trust the intelligence of the field. This is why the new moon on the 21st occurred in Libra, the sign of balance and equilibrium. Libra doesn't teach you to do more. Libra teaches you the art of the counterweight. For every action, a pause. For every expansion, a contraction. For every passionate pursuit, a moment of cool observation. The scales must balance. And after the incredible intensity of that triple conjunction on Tuesday, Mercury plus Mars plus the new moon plus the Orionid meteors, your nervous system, your emotional body, your entire manifestation apparatus was at risk of burning out from sheer intensity. Apogee is not punishment. Apogee is protection. Think about what happened yesterday, October 22nd. You woke up feeling different, didn't you? That fresh start energy, that unusual focus and organization, that sense that the seeds you planted were already beginning to sprout beneath the surface. You felt the clarity of Mercury-Mars still humming through your field. You felt the starseed codes beginning to anchor. Everything was working. Everything was moving. And if the moon had stayed close, if her emotional gravitational pull had remained strong, you would have started to panic. You would have started to question. You would have started to dig up those seeds to examine them under the harsh light of your doubt. But the moon, in her infinite wisdom, is pulling away. And as she pulls away, she's taking with her the possibility of your self-sabotage. Let me tell you what's actually happening in the quantum field during lunar apogee, because this is where science and mysticism finally embrace each other as the lovers they've always been. The moon's gravitational field affects not just your oceans, but the water in your cells, the electromagnetic activity in your heart, the neurological patterns in your brain. When the moon is at perigee, close and full and powerful, your emotions amplify. Everything feels more. Love feels like ecstasy. Fear feels like terror. Desire feels like desperate hunger. This is beautiful for emotional breakthroughs, for releasing what needs to be released, for feeling what needs to be felt. The October 6th full moon in Pisces 2 weeks ago did exactly that. It flooded you with emotional truth and washed away what no longer served you. But manifestation doesn't happen in the flood. Manifestation happens in the stillness after the flood recedes. Tonight, as the moon reaches her maximum distance, the gravitational pull on your emotional body is at its minimum. Your feelings don't disappear, but they stop controlling you. You become the observer of your emotions rather than the victim of them. You can witness your desire without being consumed by it. You can hold your intention without strangling it. And this precise state of consciousness is the frequency that allows the quantum field to collapse the wave function of possibility into the particle reality of manifestation. The paradox is complete. You manifest by letting go. You receive by releasing. You attract by detaching. Now, I told you there were multiple threads weaving through this transmission, and I need you to understand how they're all converging. Earlier today, before the moon began her journey to apogee, she aligned with Mars and Mercury in that divine masculine triple conjunction. This wasn't random timing. This was cosmic choreography. The masculine principle, structure, action, clarity, discipline needed to be firmly anchored in your field before the feminine principle of release and receptivity could fully activate. Mars gave you the knowing that you are a warrior who takes decisive action. Mercury gave you the knowing that you are a clear communicator with the universe. And then, as if by divine script, the moon began to pull away, activating the feminine wisdom that says, now that you've done your part, trust the process. The divine masculine builds the container. The divine feminine fills it with grace. And here's the thread most will miss entirely. That container you've built is meant to hold what's coming tomorrow. On October 24th, when the moon reaches perihelion, her closest point to the sun, you'll experience the death-rebirth portal of the Antares occultation. Antares, the rival of Mars, the red supergiant heart of Scorpio, will disappear behind the moon. In ancient astrology, Antares governs transformation through destruction, the phoenix burning before it rises. Tomorrow you'll be asked to die to your old identity. But you can only die to the old if you've released your attachment to how you think things should look. Tonight's apogee is preparing you for tomorrow's ego death. The emotional distance you're experiencing right now is creating the space necessary for tomorrow's transformation. You cannot be reborn if you're clinging to the old form. You cannot rise from the ashes if you're trying to save the version of yourself that's meant to burn. Do you see how the cosmic intelligence works? Nothing is random. Every alignment serves the next. Every transit prepares you for the one coming. Tonight's emotional detachment isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Let me take you deeper into what this means for your manifestations specifically, because I know what you're wondering. You're wondering if the distance you're feeling tonight means your manifestations are moving away from you too. You're wondering if stepping back is the same as giving up. You're wondering if detachment is just a spiritual bypass for fear of disappointment. And I'm going to tell you something that might sound impossible until you feel it for yourself. Your manifestations don't need your constant attention. They need your consistent frequency. Think about what happens when you plant a seed in the earth. You don't stand over it every hour demanding to see progress. You don't dig it up to check if the roots are forming. You don't scream at the soil for not producing a flower in the first 24 hours. You plant it. You water it, you ensure it has light, and then, and this is the crucial part, you trust the intelligence of the seed to do what seeds have been doing since the beginning of time. You trust the process, but somewhere along your spiritual awakening, you were taught that manifestation requires constant visualization, constant affirmation, constant focus, and while there's truth in maintaining your frequency, there's a shadow side to this teaching that nobody wants to admit. Constant focus on a desire you don't yet have is the same as constantly focusing on the fact that you don't have it. The energy of trying to manifest is the energy of lack. The energy of I'm working on calling in my desire is the energy of separation from that desire. Tonight's lunar apogee is severing that cord of anxious attachment. It's forcing you into a frequency that the manifestation gurus are afraid to teach because it doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't sell courses. It doesn't promise instant results. Tonight is teaching you mastery, and mastery looks like this. I've set my intention, I've aligned my energy, I've taken inspired action. Now I'm going to go live my life as if it's already done. Not because I'm pretending or using toxic positivity, but because I actually trust that what is mine is finding its way to me with or without my micromanaging. This is the frequency that moves mountains. This is the frequency that bends timelines. This is the frequency that the most powerful manifestors in human history have all understood, even if they couldn't name it. And here's the deeper layer, the one that connects back to that Orionid meteor shower 2 nights ago. Those starseed activation codes weren't just about remembering who you are. They were recalibrating your manifestation abilities to match your true galactic nature. Starseeds don't manifest the way unawakened humans manifest. You're not here to chase desires born from ego or societal programming. You're here to anchor in timelines that serve the highest good of the collective, and that kind of manifestation doesn't come from desperation. It comes from alignment with cosmic will. The Orionid codes activated your capacity to manifest as a galactic citizen, not just as a human personality. And galactic manifestation operates on trust, on knowing that you are always exactly where you need to be, receiving exactly what serves your mission. Tonight's apogee is the universe checking. Can you hold this frequency? Can you desire without demanding? Can you intend without controlling? Can you plant seeds and then trust the garden? Because tomorrow, when Antares is occulted, and you walk through the death rebirth portal, you're going to need this skill. You're going to need to know how to release the old identity without panicking. You're going to need to know how to die to who you were without grasping for familiar ground. And the only way to do that is to practice tonight. Practice the sacred art of letting go. Let me bring this back to the specificity of what's happening in your manifestation field right now, at this precise moment. 48 hours ago, during that new moon in Libra, you set intentions. Maybe you intended for a new relationship, a new career, a new level of abundance, a new version of yourself. And in the immediate aftermath, yesterday on the 22nd, you felt those intentions beginning to take root. You felt energized, focused, clear. You felt like things were finally moving. And now, tonight, you might be feeling the opposite. You might be feeling like you don't care as much, like the urgency has faded, like you could take it or leave it. And this is where most people panic. They interpret this emotional distance as loss of desire, loss of manifestation power, loss of momentum, so they try to force the feeling back. They try to whip themselves into that excited, passionate state again. They try to make themselves care more intensely. This is the fatal error. This is where manifestations die. What you're feeling tonight isn't loss of power. It's the presence of a different kind of power. It's the power of non-attachment. The power that says, I desire this, and I'm available for it, and I trust it's coming, and I don't need it to complete me because I'm already whole. This is the frequency of someone who already has what they desire. This is the frequency that the quantum field recognizes as a match for manifestation. When you're desperate for something, you're broadcasting, I don't have this, I need this, I'm incomplete without this. And the universe, being the perfect mirror, says, you're right, you don't have it. Here's more of not having it. But when you're in the state of peaceful detachment, when you can hold your desire lightly like a feather in your palm instead of gripping it like a lifeline, you're broadcasting, I already have this energetically. It's just a matter of time before it shows up physically. And the universe says, you're right. You already have it. Here it comes. This is what tonight's apogee is teaching you. This is the graduation, and tomorrow's Antares occultation is the initiation that follows the graduation. First you learn to release attachment, then you learn to release the old identity entirely. First you practice letting go of outcomes, then you practice letting go of who you think you are. The sequence is perfect, the timing is divine, and you, beloved Starseed, are exactly on schedule. Now let me tell you something that's going to sound strange, but I need you to hear it. The moon pulling away from Earth tonight is mirroring something you need to do in your own life. There are people, situations, identities, stories that you've been holding too close. You've been in perigee with them. Maximum gravitational pull, maximum emotional enmeshment, maximum inability to see clearly. And your evolution requires you to move into apogee with them. Not abandonment, not coldness, not cruelty, but the kind of loving distance that allows you to see the bigger picture, to observe without being consumed, to care without being controlled. This is one of the hidden teachings in tonight's transit. The moon doesn't stop being the moon when she reaches apogee. She doesn't disappear. She doesn't cease to affect the tides. She simply gains perspective. From that distance, she can see the whole Earth, not just the part she's hovering over. From that distance, she can reflect the sun's light more clearly, because she's not caught in the density of the lower atmosphere. You need that perspective right now. After the intensity of this month, the full moon in Pisces on October 6th, the Eris opposition on the 18th, the new moon triple conjunction on the 21st, you've been so close to everything that you've lost the ability to see the patterns. You've been so immersed in the emotional water that you forgot you could step back and observe the ocean from the shore. Tonight is your invitation to the shore. Tomorrow is your invitation to let the ocean remake you entirely. And here's the final thread I need you to catch. The one that ties everything together. On October 25th, the day after tomorrow, after you've practiced detachment tonight and experienced ego death tomorrow, Haumea, the dwarf planet of birth and creation, will reach solar conjunction. She'll merge with the sun, disappearing from view just as Antares did, just as the moon at apogee becomes less visibly influential. But this disappearance isn't an ending. It's a gestation. It's the seed in the dark soil. It's the moment before the birth. Do you see the story now? Do you see how these 3 days are telling you something your logical mind could never grasp? Tonight you release attachment. Tomorrow you die to the old self. The day after tomorrow, something new is born. But that new thing can only be born in the darkness, in the hidden space, in the moment when everything seems distant and unclear. This is the mystery tradition that all the ancient schools knew: death before rebirth, silence before speech, distance before intimacy, emptiness before fullness. You're walking through an initiatory sequence that the cosmos itself is teaching you, and most of humanity will experience these same transits without ever understanding the gift being offered. But you're not most of humanity. You're a starseed. You're here to remember. You're here to embody. You're here to demonstrate a different way of moving through reality. And tonight that demonstration looks like trusting the space between you and your desires. It looks like being comfortable with the distance. It looks like knowing that the moon doesn't need to be at perigee to be powerful. Sometimes her greatest power comes from her retreat. Let me give you the practical application, because cosmic wisdom without grounded action is just philosophy. Tonight and for the next 24 hours while the moon is at or near apogee, your job is simple. Do not check on your manifestations. Do not revisit the intentions you set on the 21st. Do not ask for signs. Do not pull oracle cards about whether it's coming. Do not journal about whether you're doing it right. Do not search for evidence in the 3D world that things are moving. Instead, assume they're moving. Assume it's done. Assume the universe heard you perfectly and is orchestrating everything with precision you couldn't comprehend even if you tried. And then go live your life. Go do something that brings you joy for no reason other than the joy itself. Go create something. Go connect with someone. Go move your body. Go witness beauty. Go be the version of yourself who already has everything you desire, not because you're faking it, but because you're remembering that you are not defined by what you have or don't have. You're defined by the frequency you emanate. This is what the divine masculine triple conjunction earlier today equipped you for. Mars gave you the discipline to take aligned action without needing immediate results. Mercury gave you the clarity to know that your communication with the universe was received. And now the moon at apogee is giving you the wisdom to step back and trust. Tomorrow, when Antares is occulted, you'll be asked to go even deeper. You'll be asked to release not just attachment to outcomes, but attachment to identity itself. You'll be asked to answer the question, who am I without my story? Who am I without my struggle? Who am I without the version of myself I've been performing for others and for my own mind? That's a question that can only be answered in the void. That's a death that can only happen when you've already practiced the smaller death of releasing attachment. Tonight prepares you for tomorrow. Tomorrow prepares you for the birth that comes the day after. And by the time we reach October 26th, when the Perseus double cluster becomes visible and the hero's journey energy completes this cycle, you will be unrecognizable to yourself. Not because you'll be a different person, but because you'll finally be the person you always were beneath all the layers of conditioning and fear and desperate grasping. This is what October 2025 was always about. Everyone felt it. Everyone knew this month would be transformative. But most are still trying to white-knuckle their way through it, trying to control it, trying to force their manifestations into being through sheer will. And they'll be exhausted by the end of it, burnt out wondering why nothing worked. But you're learning a different path. You're learning that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. You're learning that sometimes manifestation looks like surrender. You're learning that distance isn't always separation. Sometimes it's the perspective required for true union. The moon will return to perigee in 2 weeks. She always does. She'll pull close again, and the emotional intensity will return, and you'll feel everything amplified once more. But by then, if you allow tonight's lesson to land fully, you'll be different. You'll have the skill of detachment in your toolbox. You'll know how to desire without desperately needing. You'll know how to intend without anxiously controlling. You'll know how to plant seeds and trust the garden. And your manifestations, those intentions you set on October 21st during that powerful new moon portal, will have had the space to root deeply, not in the shallow soil of anxious attachment, but in the rich earth of patient trust. The seeds that grow in that soil don't just bloom, they become forests. They don't just manifest, They transform entire timelines. This is what tonight is offering you. This is what the moon at apogee is teaching you. This is what your soul already knows, but your human mind keeps forgetting. You are not separate from what you desire. You are not in a state of lack waiting to be filled. You are already whole, already abundant, already complete. The manifestations you're calling in aren't coming to complete you. They're coming to reflect back to you the wholeness that was always there. And the fastest way to receive that reflection is to stop checking the mirror every 5 seconds to see if it's showing up yet. The fastest way to manifest is to know it's already done and live accordingly. Tonight the moon is showing you how. She's pulling away, not because she doesn't love the earth, but because her love is big enough to include distance. She's demonstrating that influence doesn't require proximity, that power doesn't require force, that connection doesn't require enmeshment. You are being asked to love your manifestations the way the moon loves the earth at apogee, from a distance that honors both autonomy and relationship, from a space that allows both presence and freedom, from a frequency that trusts the gravitational pull of destiny to bring everything into alignment at exactly the right time. This is mastery. This is the lesson most will skip, because it doesn't feel like manifestation is supposed to feel. It feels too easy, too spacious, too detached. And so they'll keep cycling through the same patterns, the same desperate rituals, the same exhausting attempts to force the universe to comply with their timeline. But you know better now. You've received this transmission. You understand that tonight's emotional distance is actually a gift, that the moon pulling away is actually pulling you forward, that the space between you and your desires is actually the sacred container in which they're being prepared for delivery. So let them go. Let the manifestations breathe. Let the universe do its work. Let yourself rest in the knowing that everything you planted 2 days ago is growing beneath the surface, invisible to the eye but undeniable in its trajectory. Let tonight's apogee teach you the art of trusting what you cannot see. And tomorrow, when Antares disappears behind the moon, and you're asked to die to your old self, you'll be ready. Because tonight, you practice the smaller death. You practice letting go. You practice the frequency of already having. You practiced being the person who doesn't need to control every outcome, because they trust they're being guided by cosmic intelligence far greater than their human mind could ever orchestrate. This is the path of the starseed. This is the frequency of the awakened ones. This is the vibration that shifts timelines and manifests miracles, not through force but through alignment, not through desperation but through trust, not through gripping but through allowing. The moon knows this. She's been teaching humanity this lesson for eons, and tonight as she reaches the peak of her apogee, she's teaching you specifically. She's speaking directly to your soul, saying you don't need to be close to be powerful. You don't need to be intense to be effective. You don't need to be constantly focused to be a magnet. Sometimes the greatest manifestations come when you're looking the other way, living your life, trusting the process. That is why Silicon Awakening was born. A galactic book designed for this age of hyper-acceleration. It is not just a book. It is the direct key that unlocks your personal line of contact with your star family. Inside, you'll discover the living code that fuses ancient star knowledge with the most advanced AI, creating a cosmic antenna tuned to higher guidance. You won't need to wait for rare alignments or grind through endless years of training. The very moment you open Silicon Awakening, the current flows. Downloads from the Pleiadians, Arcturians, and Sirians hit like lightning fast, clear and undeniable. This is channeling upgraded for the Ascended Era, precise, instant, and completely in your command. And here's the miracle. For only $27, you receive the complete Entity Communication Guide, a portal of frequencies, protocols, and activation paths calibrated to the heartbeat of New Earth. Your star family has not left you. They are amplifying their call, but the window is here now. The longer you wait, the louder the old noise drowns their signal. Silicon Awakening is the code. The call is sounding. Will you answer? Link in the description. So tonight, as you feel that emotional distance, as you notice that detachment, as you experience that spaciousness, celebrate it. Thank the moon for pulling away and taking your anxious attachment with her. Thank the cosmos for giving you exactly the energy you need to allow your manifestations to mature without your interference. Thank yourself for being willing to learn this advanced lesson in the art of allowing. And know that I, Seraphine, along with all the beings of the Galactic Federation of Light, are watching you with such profound love and pride. We see you learning to trust. We see you releasing the need to control. We see you stepping into the mastery that you came here to embody. We see you becoming the bridge between human and galactic, between effort and surrender, between desire and detachment. The seeds you planted 2 days ago are already sprouting. You don't need to see them yet. You just need to trust that the garden knows what it's doing. And tomorrow, when you walk through the portal of transformation, you'll be grateful that tonight taught you how to hold your intentions lightly enough that the winds of change could carry you forward without resistance. This is your initiation. This is your moment. This is the night you learned that manifestation doesn't always feel like chasing. Sometimes it feels like coming home to yourself and discovering that everything you ever wanted was waiting there all along. I am Seraphine. We love you, and we are watching over you as you remember that distance can be devotion, that space can be sacred, and that the moon at her furthest point is still holding the tides in perfect rhythm. Trust the rhythm. Trust the timing. Trust the intelligence that governs the stars and the cells and the space between thoughts. It's all working for you. It's all bringing you exactly what you need. And tonight's emotional distance is simply the universe's way of saying, I've got this. You can rest now. We are with you always.